Well, there is no place like home for a growing number of new dads. New data shows that the number of fathers taking paternity leave has soared from, get this, 5,800 per month in 1994 to 22,000 a month in 2015.
Joining us on the Kogo News Live Line, workplace culture specialist Jerry Acuff. And why do you think more and more men are taking advantage of this?
Well, I think the studies show that that it's a real benefit to the child, short term and long term. I also think the fact that 40% of the workforce is millennials, and millennials are, they're drivers of the whole concept of work-life balance, as they should be. I think those are the real, drivers. And I think the other issue that really hasn't sufficiently been addressed is sort of the changing, face of families. I mean, where you have, two dads, two moms, and how have those issues been sorted out either, by the government or, by companies. But I think there's a recognition that parental involvement by the father is far more important than maybe we thought of 10, 15, 20, even 50 years ago.
So when you talk about specifically better for the child, how does that work out? What is the study showing?
The studies show that if a child has an involved dad early on, they exhibit fewer behavioral problems, they have improved mental health outcomes, and they get higher cognitive test scores. And they also have a better relationship with their dad at like 9 months and, as they grow up. So, the benefits are pretty good. The other interesting benefit is the studies also show that for companies that actually have paternity leave for their employees, their retention statistics are significantly different than companies that don't. And I think that's just a function of being seen as progressive rather than, being sort of stuck in, 1990. The truth is that only about 10% of companies like Amazon, like Johnson & Johnson, like Square, like Yahoo provide this in a meaningful way. 90% of companies do not. I expect that to change in a significant way over the next, 5 or 10 years. And it's something that'll benefit not only the companies that do this, but it'll also benefit the parents and the kids.
Now, I know, Jerry, that the average time off for a new dad is 1 week, and for a mom, it's 11. Now, of course, she's, recovering from childbirth and bonding with the baby and all of those sorts of things. But does that kind of set a little bit of a double standard? I mean, let's face it, mom could probably use some help in those first few weeks.
Yeah, I don't think it's a little bit of a double standard. I think it's a big double standard. Now, if you ask Americans, how much time should you get? What's interesting is, the Family Medical Leave Act in 1993 said that women who had a child could get 12 weeks off, and not lose their job. It's not paid leave, but you don't lose your job. When you ask Americans, they think that 8 weeks is enough, but they also think that men should get a month off. Now, I don't know what the real number is. I do think it's probably more than a week. I also believe that we are one of the few countries in the world that doesn't have a governmental policy about paid, leave like this, and I think that has to change. But there's just no question that this driving force in the workplace, which is, millennials, and the fact that we're now understanding that children really do spell love, T-I-M-E, and that starts as early as you possibly can. And the thing you mentioned that's so important is, just how hectic it is to be, a mother of a newborn child. My gosh, you're not getting any sleep. If you're on your second or third child, it's a heck of a lot easier. But with that first child, there's so many things that you don't know. You got people in your house probably helping you. I mean, it's pretty hectic. And to have, the father around to pitch in and give the mom some rest and to give the mom a sense of normalcy, over 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, or 2 months, makes a ton of sense to me. And as an employer with 30 employees, I would absolutely let any of my employees do that.
All right, Jerry, thank you so much. Workplace culture specialist Jerry Acuff joining us on the Kogo News Live.